Good morning, everyone, and welcome again to the JBDC's virtual biz zone. My name is Sansia Campbell, and I'm the Partnerships and Events Coordinator here at the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Thank you, as I said before, for joining us for another virtual biz zone. We know that there have been few and far in between, but it's because things are changing rapidly and there's a lot more happening in person more than it's happening virtually these days. But we still want to keep the connection alive. And so we've decided to change our approach to the biz zone. We are now doing two per quarter instead of one per month. We're coming from two per month to one per month, and then now we are now at two per quarter because we are doing a lot more face-to-face interactions. Just to remind those persons who may not have been here before, or to inform you, the purpose of the virtual biz zone is just to sensitize our client group on the different developments that's happening in the MSME sector, information that you can use to grow and expand your business. And as you know, we are in the season of digitization, digitalization, and digital transformation through our Digital Jamaica project. We recently hosted the Digital Jamaica Summit, where we were able to bring together quite a number of our stakeholders who are involved in supporting the digitalization, and digital transformation of our MSMEs, because in order for us to compete in the future world, as it were, we have to be able to operate as such. And so this morning, we have with us one of our stakeholders that was at the Digital Jamaica Summit, but who has also been with the JBDC forever and a day. He is a past accelerator participant, one of our most outstanding, so outstanding to the point where he was voted Boss Man of the Year for 2019. He is our e-commerce general. So say, we're bringing out the big guns this morning. And so he's going to be sharing with us leveling the playing field, how MSMEs can boost competitiveness with digital technologies. So Mr. Leighton Campbell, the e-commerce general, is going to be sharing with us this morning. Please feel free to drop your questions in the chat or to hold up your hand, your virtual hand. He will be more than happy to accommodate your questions. So at this point, it is over to you, Mr. Campbell, and we look forward to what you have to share with us this morning.
Thanks for having me, Sansia. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking time out of your schedules to join this session. Let's make it a fruitful one. Let's make it a beneficial one for you guys. You're here. Make it count. Feel free to ask all the questions that you want to ask. Stop me at any time with your questions, whether you put it in the chat or you hold your hand up. I'm sure Sansia will help me to moderate those questions. But yeah, so today we talk about leveling the playing field. Let me just share my screen here. All right, so today we talk about leveling the playing field, how MSMEs can boost competitiveness with digital technologies. Now, this presentation follows on from the presentation I did at the summit, where I spoke a lot about digital transformation of MSMEs and some of the tools that are readily available for persons to make that transition. I highlighted a lot of free tools that persons could use to really maximize the potential of their digital transformation and to just get there in a cost-efficient way and in a scalable. One of the things that I learned at JBDC, which has kind of become one of my digital transformation mantras, is to nail it before you scale it. So, and what this really means is really that, you get the concept right at the prototype level before investing too heavily to scale it and make it big. You don't want to throw good after bad, you understand? So the idea is to, get the concept right, test it, get your validation, get some sales in, before starting to pump monies into your business. So today we talk about leveling the playing field, and leveling the playing field, can be approached in a number of different ways. But for today, I'm going to focus a lot on strategy. We talked about tools at the summit. Today we're going to talk a lot about strategy and how is it that you can really put it in your minds, conceptualize, how is it that you go to market in a digital way that really enable you to compete with any brand out there, no matter how big or small they are. And that's it. That's the real advantage of digital, that how you show up online can make or break your business, especially as a small business. Whilst the larger companies will have very big budgets to implement elaborate systems and processes and automations, there are still ways and means that you can go about, migrating online and achieving and competing with these large players that you may come up against. All right. So, some of the topics that we're going to talk about, we're going to give a quick e-commerce overview, because once you talk about competing within the digital space as a business, you're talking about online selling and how you activate in that space. And then I'm going to talk about your e-commerce business modeling, right? So I said we talked about some tools. Today we want to focus on, how is it that you really activate? And for me, competing, everything regards to competing and selling online comes back to strategies. Once you get the strategy right, then the solution can take many different formats, right? So let's jump straight into it. About an hour and a half. Today I'm going to maximize it as much as possible. All right. All right, let's quickly talk about e-commerce. So what exactly is e-commerce? Digital business is really about the buying and selling of goods and services using the internet, the transfer of money and data to execute these transactions. I'm going to repeat, the buying and selling of goods or services using the internet and the transfer of money and data to execute these transactions. So what it is not just credit card payments, payment processing, is not just having a website, is not just setting up these infrastructure. You understand? I would go as far to say that persons who are selling their products on Instagram and collecting payments using a bank transfer are participating in the e-commerce ecosystem, right? That's typically a place that a lot of persons start. And we don't want to make it seem like if you don't have a website, you're not doing e-commerce. If you're not collecting payments, using a payment gateway, you're not doing e-commerce, right? Once you're selling online and collecting payments electronically, you're on your way, right? And that's typically the place to start where this is concerned, right? How does it work? Typically, just like any business process, customer has to find you. In the case of digital, of course, they find it online via typically a website or a digital platform. These can include, your Instagram page, your Facebook page. It can be a Google My Business page as well, or even somebody who's sending you a WhatsApp message, and then, of course, the person has to submit the order. So this is where the communication comes into play, where the person expresses their interest to complete that order, or they actually enter a online ordering process where they add the cart or you sign up, stuff like that. All right. And then, of course, as part of submitting the order, you're talking about making a payment as well. So typically, you express the interest and you make payment, and then it moves now to order processing. Order processing is where you actually register the order and make provisions to have it fulfilled. So whether it is the order needs to be packaged, you need to provide receipts and provide that information back to your customer, and then of course it goes now into fulfillment. When you get to fulfillment, you're looking at either the customer picking up their order, you selling the order to them, or it could also be a digital download. It could be that you're selling a book. It could be that you're selling an electronic item that persons can download. It could also be that you are selling something that is accessed virtually. So if you're selling things like courses, you may want to have persons sign up and then have access to a learning management system that has all the course content and the quizzes and all those different things. So there are different ways to do order fulfillment depending on the type of business that you're in. All right. So that covers how it works. Now, why e-commerce? Why go down this route? Bottom line, guys, is that physical businesses work and have worked for centuries, right? And we're not knocking what a physical infrastructure, a business that's operating from a physical location achieves. You know, we are following that blueprint and evolving from that blueprint into know what we refer to as digital business. Digital business gives you legs. Digital business brings your business anywhere in your immediate vicinity, in your country, across the Caribbean, and across the world. It doesn't matter where the customer is. Once you have a digital presence and a way for persons to express interest, submit an order, and make payment, and you can send the product to them, you can reach that customer anywhere. You can also leverage digital channels, of course, to generate interest. So not only if the customer finds you, but you can also you can seek out new customers in different territories. So you can stay in Jamaica and decide, hey, I want to start servicing customers in Barbados. I just start running ads in Barbados to your products, right? So reach is the number one reason for going digital, and for especially entrepreneurs, startups, cost is another major factor for choosing e-commerce. You know, the cost that you bear to start up online versus to start a physical business is a mere fraction, you know, probably as low as even 1%, you know. But that's one of the other reasons for starting up digitally. So for example, you'd have seen now where, you know, in the business space, there is a lot more consideration for home-based businesses or online business. Even when you go to different entities to sign up forms, maybe say like a bank, or so you will see these new categories on your forms for whether it be a home-based business or online business, virtual business. You know, these are the reasons for it. You know, low startup costs. And, you know, with your, just like we're on this session right now, you know, I'm sure there are some persons who are not even probably physically present in Jamaica, but they are consuming this information that is being generated by the JBDC here in Jamaica, right? So we want to echo that sentiment and ensure a person understand why. Now I share some of these statistics at the summit, and I want to share it again because it's important for us to put it into perspective what things mean. You know, we hear people talk about stuff all the time and they call numbers, but you know, sometimes we wonder, is that really true? Does that make sense? You know, these statistics have been pulled from the digital report. You can actually Google global digital report, and you will see a report produced by Where Social or Hootsuite, and you will see it on reports for the entire globe, like every country in the world. They have a report on them, whether it is on and it's many things. I just pull out 2 pages from it. It covers so much, and I encourage persons to access this resource. For me, it's a very powerful resource in helping you to understand your market. I remember, like, I've been in entrepreneurship for probably, I started in 2011, right? So you can count the years. And I remember when, you know, you would have a meeting with an entity like a JBDC. At the time I was at Technology Innovation Center, and they would ask things about, you know, the size of your target market. And I was like, man, where would I go to get this type of information, you know? Specific information about, you know, those what qualifies your business, what qualifies the opportunity that you're going after. And these statistics that are in the digital report are really helpful in driving that way forward. You can use these statistics as well in your pitches as well, as part of justifying your business reason and your market and all these different things. Anyway, let's jump into it quickly. What I want to highlight here are 2 main things, you know, or rather 3, which is, you know, the total population is, you know, a little under 3 million, but we have over 3 million phones. So what it means is that you have more than 100% phone penetration in the country. What does that mean for a business? That means that for every customer that you have, you should be able to reach them via the phone, via a phone call, or text message. Doesn't matter if they have data or not. Once they have a phone, you're able to call them, you're able to send them a text message, right? Then you look at the internet penetration. Sorry, guys. Yes, so I was saying, that's why, so we have over 100% mobile penetration, so we can reach persons via their mobile devices. The next thing is the internet penetration. I remember before COVID, we were at about 52% internet penetration. We're seeing a whopping 85%. And with the Digital Jamaica program, one of the biggest investments that is being made is in the internet infrastructure. So this number will increase over the next 1 to probably 3 years, right? Which and these things are very important to understand, because what this now means is that, guys, we're able to reach persons online, we're able to do business with persons of internet and so forth. Of course, you see almost 60% penetration on social media, which means that you're able to find 60% of your customers on social media. But the internet penetration is very important to note. The mobile penetration is very important to note, because these two directly impact your ability to execute online business. The next set of numbers to focus on are the financial numbers. So we talked about more the digital infrastructure. Now we're going to talk about the financial inclusion factors. We're seeing here, we're currently in 2024, we have over 70% of Jamaicans having access to a financial institution. What this means is that typically financial institutions come with online banking. Like, I don't know any major bank right now who doesn't support online banking. What that means is that at a minimum, you should be able to sell your product to a customer and they can go online and make a bank transfer, all right? Or even, let's say, for instance, they are not okay with online banking and they just really want to walk into the bank and do that transfer, they can also do that. But there is a method for them to send their monies to you, which is super important. The next thing I want to highlight is debit card ownership, which is almost at 50%. Now you notice that, all banks have changed out their debit cards from just being regular debit cards to now be either a Visa or a Master debit card. So persons are able to make purchases online. And then you're seeing where you have a total of almost 12% in credit card ownership. Now I'm going to assume that most, if not all, of these credit card owners are debit card holders as well. So we're gonna just round it off to say that approximately 50% of persons out there have access to debit or credit card facilities that enable them to make purchases online. These things, guys, are key numbers that we have to understand and understand how they impact our ability to do business. It is also one of the reasons why, when we are setting up e-commerce infrastructure for our customers, I always encourage them to have a bank transfer payment option. Don't only have credit card, but have a bank transfer payment option for persons who don't want to make payment or don't have the ability to make payment with a credit card, all right? Some challenges to highlight, however, so those are some of the good things. Some challenges to highlight here are still that, you still have challenges with technology in some areas of the country. So while we have 85% internet penetration, there are some areas that may have challenges, especially the more remote areas. Similar as well with logistics. I only know of maybe a few logistics partners who go everywhere in Jamaica. So that's one thing to consider. However, again, this is something that has increased significantly since COVID, because COVID bearer services, logistics partners have all stepped up their game to meet the demand during COVID, and because of that, we have a vast number of options as it relates to local delivery. You also have the ability to send your packages to the US, UK, Canada, very easily using like Jamaica Post as an option. So that makes it pretty easy. I know a number of persons who have been using them and they've been using them successfully. Where the difficulty lies is sending stuff across the Caribbean. It tends to be very expensive in getting that done. And also the other challenge is in shipping cold storage items. So if your items need to remain frozen or coal to remain in good order when they reach the customer. That's another challenge as well that we have to consider, right? And these things are really related to our geographical location, being an island, not being on a mainland, of course, and then the Caribbean just being so disjointed. And the Caribbean, though we are one Caribbean, it doesn't seem to be a lot of commercial trade in between the islands as there is, for the bigger nations like the UK, the Canada, the USA, and because that you have less traffic going between. And I believe this is why these costs to ship across the Caribbean, tend to be so expensive. Then you have credit card penetration, not as low as it was before, but still at 50%. Of course, we can always benefit from that increase. Countries like the US, Canada are in the 85 up to 90% in credit card penetration. So pretty much almost everybody has a credit card, which makes their economy boost a lot where e-commerce is concerned. And then we have the issue of skepticism about online business overall. The unfortunate truth is that our society is plagued with fraud, and this fraud is not only limited to internet business, but online it is a lot easier to execute, being that you're not physically anywhere doing that thing. But you're able to do different unscrupulous things without persons catching up with you, right away. So you find that you still have quite a bit of fraud and stuff to get over. There has been a significant increase in security protocols, whether by the financial institutions, the payment gateway providers, the regulatory bodies who are in charge of ensuring that transactions are best practices support safe transactions are being maintained. But there is still a skepticism, and you find that sometimes people will oftentimes either try to use PayPal to make a payment, or they try to use more secure channels to make those credit card payments, or maybe they have an account that they transfer funds to make payments from them, so that if something happens there, it does impact their overall funds and so forth. So these are some of the challenges that persons face typically when it comes to doing business online. And again, for all these reasons, bank transfer, again, supports a safe, quote unquote, safe way of executing these businesses. Now let's talk about a digital strategy. So let's talk about the digital strategy. Now, as I said, to compete in the digital space, guys, it's not just about, as I say, throwing up an online store or selling. Digital selling is a very targeted, very purposeful, thought out exercise, right? Somebody may go downtown on a Friday or a Saturday evening to sell, goods, because they know that the traffic is downtown. They know that people are down there looking for these things to buy. So even in a simple execution as higgling, people are thinking about what they're doing and ensuring that they're going to the places that persons are most likely to buy their products, because a higgler can't afford to go out and come back in without any sale. Oftentimes, they rely on that day's sale to eat in the evening. So we need to treat our digital strategy in the same manner. How do we structure ourselves in a way that enables us to capture the sale daily? And that's where we all want to get to. We all want to get to that point where our business is running, we have a formula for success, and we're not trying to figure it out day by day, but we have this thing in place. And to achieve this, everything has to come from strategy. All right. Now, for today's session, we're gonna use a case study to help to explain to you how is it that we can develop an e-commerce strategy for a business. And we're using this case study so that everybody in the room can understand, right? This case study will speak about it's from the beauty products and services space, but it's something that everybody can relate to. All right, so I'm going to read the case study, and then when we go through examples of how to activate, we're going to pull on examples from the case study. All right. So we're going to talk about Kim's Beauty, which is a fictitious business which I created solely for the purpose of demonstrating and going through this content with you guys, right? So Kimberly is a certified beauty technician by the Hartress NT in Jamaica. For the last 10 years, Kimberly has been working at a large hotel chain spa, providing beauty services to hotel visitors and bridal parties. Kimberly has now grown tired of the 9 to 5 and have decided to open her own beauty business on Howard Cook Boulevard in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Kimberly has decided to provide beauty services and products to females in the tourist town of Montego Bay. Her specialty is in equipping her female clientele with styles that make them feel trendy and confident. She has completed the setup of her business place and is ready to sell beauty services, beauty service appointments for hair, face, nails, and body. Beauty products like lipstick, hair moisturizer, makeup, and polish. Raw materials to other raw materials that other beauty service providers use when providing their business services. Courses to females on how to choose and apply the right shade of makeup to their skin. And also sell customized wedding packages to female tourists who have destination weddings in Jamaica. During Kimberly's time working at the hotel spa, she observed how they use e-commerce strategies and tools effectively run their business. Kimberly is about to launch her business and is trying to figure out how she can use e-commerce to develop, grow, and sustain her business while delivering value and achieving profitability, and also to set up her business to operate efficiently without her having to be there every day. How does she do this? All right, so the first thing that we have to look at here is choosing the right e-commerce business model, right? When persons are looking to set up a business, one thing that you have to look at is, who are you serving? How is this business going to work? And based on these decisions, everything else flows from that. So in the case of Kim's Beauty, Kim is servicing individuals, females in the tourist town of Montego Bay. So her first business model to activate is her B2C business model, which is business to customer. But Kimberly also supplies raw materials to other beauty service providers who want to create things like lipsticks, lip balms, stuff like that. So she also have a B2B clientele. So she's using both models as part of her execution. All right, now let's talk about how Kimberly is going to execute something like this. Now, what you're seeing on screen here is what I call the e-commerce business model canvas. This is something that has been created by me a few years ago when I started to deliver a lot of training and doing a lot more e-commerce work. Couldn't find a business model canvas for e-commerce. So what we did was to take the lean business model canvas and customize it for e-commerce. And this is what we're going to talk about today to help you guys to figure out, how is it that you position yourself to compete in this digital space against your peers, similar business like you, and also even larger competitors within the space. All right. So we're going to go through different segments. Of course, the first segment for me is the value proposition. Then we talk about your revenue model, your customer segments, your customer touch points. What type of customer relationships will you support? What's going to be your distribution strategy, key sales activities, how do you fulfill, and your cost structure. All right, so let's talk about the basics value proposition. So first, we're going to zone in on your value drivers. What are your value drivers? The value drivers are the things that your customers tend to value. It helps them to figure out, why should I buy from you and not buy from somebody else? Remember, guys, that whichever business that we are in, 9.5 times out of 10, there is another competitor. There is somebody else to choose from. So not only does the customer have to figure out, why should I buy this product, but also, why should I buy from you, right? So is there a problem being solved? In the case of Kim's Beauty, she wants to help females to feel trendy and confident. So that's her solution, you know. And with that comes a particular demographic of person that she may go after because of that particular target, right? So she's not going after the people who want to look old and frumpy. She want to go after people who want to look trendy, confident, right? Pricing. Is your pricing ideal for the customer? Or what's your pricing strategy? How do you price to ensure that your customer considers you when buying from you? In the case of Kim's Beauty, she chooses a scalable pricing strategy. So based on the quality and quantity of goods, things like your service time, and complexity of the service required, she may charge you something. Let's throw some wild numbers out there. Let's say, for instance, she would charge $1,000 for a hair wash, but if you need to be washed and cream, then it's more. You understand? So that's the concept that Kim works with. She does it based on the scale of the work that she needs to execute. Then you're looking at what value does she provide, right? For her, she provides value at different scales to suit different budgets. So for her, what she does is she ties her value to her budget, right? In the case of Kim's Beauty, again, a beauty parlor doesn't necessarily want to be the cheapest person around town, as you'll never make any money, right? But what you want to do is ensure that the customer is feeling like they're getting value for money. So you have to think about these things when considering, your value drivers. Then of course you look at convenience. How are you making it convenient for the customer? What she positions herself is that she's a one-stop shop. She takes a one-stop shop approach that allows females to get all their beauty needs solved under one roof. And a one-stop shop approach does work. In some instances when you can afford to deliver the services at that scale consistently. But one of the things I know about beauty services is that oftentimes, it takes a long time to get the service done, whether it is you're waiting a lot and stuff like that. So there are different methods that you can add to increase convenience for your customers. But for Kim's Beauty, her value proposition is that when you come to Kim's Beauty, you don't have to go anywhere else. You can get your hair done, you can get your nails done, you can get your main services done here under one roof. I know, again, speaking to females, I've heard they complain that, boy, I have to go to the hairdresser over here, then have to leave and go to the nail tech over there. Understand your value proposition so you can communicate it effectively. Why, guys? Because this is the information that will go on your flyer. This is what you will use to promote your business out there. And when you are promoting online, you have just a few seconds to capture somebody's attention and generate interest. So, you have to be very clear about who you are, what you're offering, why should persons buy from you, and how do you make it easy for them to be your customer and stuff like that, right? So these are some things that you must consider at the beginning of your strategy. Again, guys, we're talking about leveling the playing field. How do we increase our competitiveness? And it starts right here in strategy. All right, let's talk about your revenue streams. I can't conceptualize a business until I figure out what I'm doing and how I'm going to make money, right? So in your case, you want to at least identify what are the different opportunities to earn from this business and not just have one revenue stream. Let's say any successful business needs to have at least 3 revenue streams. So you want to consider, how do you build that out and make that work for you, all right? So how are you going to make money? In the case of Kim's Beauty, she's selling products. We talked about the lipstick, the hair moisturizer, and also the B2B raw materials. She's also selling courses to females to help them to figure out how to apply makeup. We know that's a big challenge with a lot of females who are getting started in makeup. The skin tone, how to get it right. I've seen many persons create a lot of YouTube tutorials and stuff like that for those things. You can also do the same for your products as well. If it's that your product comes with a learning curve, then it's good to create content on how to use the product. You can offer that content for free, you can charge for it, right? You can also consider memberships or subscriptions. I love the subscription model because what it means that once a person signs up, they just continue to pay until they either no longer use the service or stop using the service. At the times people end up in subscription services much longer than they need to, because they may be in between two minds of, do I need a service consistently, or do I just need no one then? And if you need no one, then you still have to subscribe. So at the times person just remain subscribed. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that, related to your Amazon Prime subscription. You may be shopping a lot in a particular season. Another season you're not shopping so much, but you still maintain the Prime membership, and Amazon still makes that money off you. So if you can find a way to activate a subscription or membership model within your business, it can be done for, even for instance, your content, or we were talking about the courses earlier. The courses could be done in that way as well. If it is that you sell products that have a learning curve, a person to understand how to use, you can have them subscribe to a channel or to a content series, or just information as you want to provide. It could be as simple as a WhatsApp group, and people have to pay to be in a WhatsApp group to get this information. And in case of Kim's Beauty, we're talking about bookings for appointments, which is a standard thing. And then of course, services that require quotation. So in her case, she's doing a customized wedding package to female tourists who have destination weddings in Jamaica. And that engagement typically requires for there to be some type of consultation, some type of quotation to be provided, and then approved. So understanding which revenue streams you're going to activate to make money, and how you're going to position those revenue streams online is very important. Because again, guys, remember, when you're online, there's no flow representative, there's no customer service desk, there's no agent sitting and waiting to talk to people, unless you have something like a live chat or maybe a WhatsApp chat enabled, or maybe you actively support maybe your Instagram DMs to kind of provide a support. And that's also something that helps you to get more business through the door, right? But you have to understand that persons need to be able to see, read what you have to offer, and get it right away. All right, now your target market. Now, how do you target? In digital business, you have to be very specific, and the best campaigns for any e-commerce or digital business is that targeted campaign. You don't know, gone are the days when you have to put an ad on TV for people to see your brand. Gone are the days when you have to put an ad on TV for people to see your brand. And when you think about TV, radio, they're fairly, what you call mass media approaches, but they're still quite targeted, because somebody may choose to put an ad in a particular program that they know appeals to a certain demographic, right? But we must understand who our targets are so that we can know how we go after them. So who, in the case of Kim's Beauty, she's going after the people who want to feel trendy and confident. So we're looking at females between the age of 20 to as much as 60, right? After you pass certain age, maybe you don't care that much anymore. There may be a few who still do, but it's not going to be your majority, right? So you want to focus your budget and your energies on where your majority lies. Where, in the case of Kim's Beauty, these are persons who are visiting, are living in the tourist town of Montego Bay. And I use those two words, visiting and living, because you can target a local by running an ad to a particular location here in Jamaica. But let's say, for instance, you are targeting persons who are visiting Jamaica, then maybe you could target areas in the US, in the UK, in Canada that have a heavy Jamaican concentration, or somewhere that gets a lot of visitors to Jamaica. I'm sure places like the Ministry of Tourism would have this type of data that would help somebody who wants to do that level of targeting. You understand? But it's important to understand that there are two different types of customers here that Kim's Beauty is going after, the local and the tourists, right? And they are physically located in Montego Bay, not just Jamaica, because someone who visits Kingston is not going to go to Montego Bay to get a beauty service done, right? Unless they made those arrangements long before, right? Now, what are you targeting with? In the case of Kim's Beauty, she's looking for persons who are looking to get beauty services done for them. So you need to understand, what are you targeting persons with? For example, I'll give an example of a business I recently started. I recently started this business in, toddler party rentals. And, for me, I target persons who are having birthdays. There are many different occasions that I could tag, but I target persons who are having birthdays. So I'm very specific. I'm very targeted about my approach. You don't want to. One of the things that with online business is that sometimes people try to be the Amazon in Jamaica, and when you try to be the Amazon in Jamaica, meaning that you're selling this wide range of products and you're appealing to these many different market segments at the same time, you easily become known for everything and nothing. So somebody doesn't think about you when they have a specific need, you understand? But if I have a plumbing problem, I'm going to go down to Jamaica Plumbing and Supplies. If I need something from the hardware, I may go to Phil's Hardware, I may go to True Valley. You understand? Having a specific position that you take when you are marketing your services help persons to quicker identify with what you are selling. Then you have to look at when you are targeting, because it doesn't make any sense to be targeting people when they're not buying. Ideally, you want to target persons when they are most likely to buy. So if you're selling Easter bun, you can't sell that during Christmas. Or if you want to sell bun and cheese in general, it doesn't make any sense to promote it in Christmas. Similarly, you can't sell fruit cake in Easter, right? So when is very important to understand. And I encourage persons, it's very difficult sometimes as entrepreneurs to plan far ahead because we're just so busy. We're so caught up with the different things that we're doing. But if we can just have a skeleton calendar throughout the year of our key commercial seasons, that will help us a lot, because you will be able to plan ahead and schedule campaigns that will convert effectively when you're able to do that. And throughout the year, there are different commercial seasons that happen. You have specific things that happen in New Year. You have Valentine's Day that comes up. You have the holidays, the Ash Wednesdays and the Easters that come up there after the emancipations. You have summer, you have Christmas, you have Black Friday, you have some of the foreign holidays that seep into Jamaica, like your Thanksgiving that has different sales and so forth. So you want to know when you want to target your customers. In the case of Kim's Beauty, she's targeting throughout the year, but for tourism especially, she's targeting during peak seasons and during the season when people have events, because people are most likely to take beauty services when they want to get dressed up and go somewhere. So you have to be very clear about when you are doing your targeting. All right. All right. Now, next you have to think about is customer touch points. How do you reach your customers? Where are they? In the case of Kim's Beauty, she's looking at offline and online. So when you're targeting, you're not only thinking about, where can I find this person's online? A lot of times persons forget about the offline approach, the offline options. How do you bring persons offline to your online resource to do business with you? So you can leave a flyer, a brochure. Sometimes it's a simple thing as a sticker with a barcode, the QR code, right? So in the case of Kim's Beauty, she's positioning our products in hotels, at store locations, cafes, restaurants, bars, places that her target market are likely to visit. And then online, of course, she's doing Google search. Google search is a very, very, very useful tool, guys. I find that the leads that come from Google are further along the sales pipeline than somebody who comes from social media. Why is it so? Because somebody who is on Google searching is actively searching for a solution to their problem, while somebody on social media would have just been going about their daily business and browsing through their feed and happen to come into your product or service. So they may save it, bookmark, share it with a friend for use at a later time. And when that time comes, if you're constantly engaging them or at least sharing content in their face, then they will definitely remember and come and do business with you. But the person who is doing that Google search is in a mode to buy now. Some persons as well are also using social media now to search. Up to last weekend, I got a booking like that where the person went on Instagram and just searched party rentals, and that's how they found me, right? So let's give another example of how persons search using social media. So the persons who are searching are more actively looking to buy now. So you always want to be in a position for search. And what I like to liken this to is like a yellow pages in a directory. Google search and any search engine is like that. The person will typically go to your yellow pages and I don't know who the supplier is that I'm going to use, but I know I need this particular product, right? And they go searching, and that's how they get from. Once you're positioned there, then you will get a lot of business, especially for products that people typically have to search for. If I need to buy a bottle of water, I know where to find that, right? I go to a supermarket, I go to a gas station. But if I need to get a specialized service that especially isn't you don't use every day, then I'm either gonna ask a friend or I'm gonna go search. All right. So in Kim's Beauty, she's gonna be using Google search, social media, travel websites, news, tabloids, news or tabloid websites, right? Then we have to consider the customer relationships that we're going to be executing against, right? Now, for customer relationships, you have to consider, is this going to be a self-serve relationship or is this going to be a personal service? If it's a self-serve relationship, then you can set up an online store where persons can go online and they can add the product to cart easily and check out without ever speaking to anybody, right? So in the case of Kim's Beauty, she would sell her beauty products like that. She'll sell her raw materials like that. She'll sell her courses like that. But when it comes to her beauty services and wedding services, she would prefer to take a personal service approach where she has a conversation with the individual before buying, or she provides some type of support to the customer when in their buying process to make that purchase. And what does this mean, guys, when it comes to setting up online is that for self-services, you allow them to go online and complete the transaction online, or at least a part of the transaction online. A personal service, normally you ask them to get in touch with you. So this is where, you know, your WhatsApp link in your Instagram profile helps, you know, your phone numbers, your emails, these communication tools work. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you guys, the secret for me with online business is really in two things. It's in commerce and communication. Digital business doesn't happen without having your commercial channel set up for a person to express interest in buying something and making payment. And also it doesn't happen without there being communication. And even in the self-serve setup, you still have to have communication. Why? Because you need to send people things like, you know, your order confirmation, you know, send them a copy of your receipt or an invoice if they need to make payment using bank transfer. You know, and after they have received your product, if you're gonna do any follow-up or feedback, you know, you want to definitely tap into that, right? So those are some of the things that you have to consider. How your customer relationship strategy, how your customer relationship strategy is activated directly impacts the types of tools that you use and how you show up online and how you engage with the customers. And even, for instance, how the resources that you employ amongst your staff to support the business. Because if it is that you do a lot of personal service, then you're gonna have to have people manning a live chat or a WhatsApp chat. You know, I encourage persons who do not have dedicated resources to chat to use WhatsApp. Don't use live chat because people only within seconds for a response in a live chat. If you can respond within seconds, do WhatsApp chat. Persons are used to having delayed communication in WhatsApp. All right. Then, of course, we want to talk about the distribution strategy. Right now, in your distribution strategy, you know, you're looking at, you know, whether you have sales reps, or you're doing referrals, are you doing partnerships or reselling. You know, for most of these, there's an online tool that can replicate this type of thing. So if, you know, if you're having sales reps, you may have, maybe as you said, a WhatsApp chat option, or maybe it's you know, an email that goes to a rep and a person reaches out. Again, I'm going to use an example of its rental business. When I was buying the equipment and bringing it in, I had to liaise with a broker overseas, and the lady spoke like she was of Spanish origin, so her English was broken. And when you spoke to her on the phone, it was like ciphering a code, right? It was very difficult to understand her and communicate with her on the phone, but she was excellent at email communication. And I received several emails for the day. If I responded, no one to get another response within an hour. It was just seamless and on point, right? People don't need to have a phone conversation with to buy from you, right? So using things like email communication through your reps is something that can help you significantly, especially if you're doing business overseas and you're finding that people are having issues understanding the dialect or the language, right? But they can read well. Referrals are another great example for Kim's Beauty. There are many referral systems out there that you can, have a link that person share to individuals, and by sharing that link, if somebody books, somebody buys, they either can get points back. You can determine what your referral program is. You can do the same thing with affiliates as well. But I want to introduce drop shipping. Drop shipping is a fairly new business model or distribution strategy that works especially for individuals who are starting up with low to no budget. A lot of times, starting up a business, you have to invest in inventory to sell back to the customers. And sometimes the cash flow is not as consistent as we want it, or maybe we don't have chance accessing the cash. But drop shipping is an easy way to work around that inventory issue. With drop shipping, what is drop shipping? Drop shipping is you selling or rather marketing a product that a supplier sells, and then when somebody buys the product from you, you then go and buy from the supplier and ship directly to the customer. So you never ever touch the product. Product is never shipped to you. It's shipped directly to the customer. And with drop shipping, a lot of young entrepreneurs are choosing this method simply because the only money they have maybe is to run the ads, is to create the artwork, the graphics, to promote the business or to promote the product that they're selling. Drop shipping allows you to tap into as many products as possible. So for example, you could just go on Amazon, go on AliExpress, choose some products that you want to sell. And with this, it allows you to test your market as well. So for example, instead of investing $100,000 in some that they think will sell, and then when you start promoting, you realize that, oh man, this isn't quite working out. You could instead just put that product out for promotion and see if persons are buying it. And then if persons are buying it, then you stock it, because drop shipping the job of a drop shipping typically is that it comes with that shipping period that persons have to wait. But first, if you want to provide a more on-demand shipping service where somebody buys today, they receive tomorrow, then you'd have to have the physical goods in stock. But with drop shipping, as you say, it's an easy way to get started. It's an easy way to test your business model, and it's an easy way to access many products where needed. I see a hand up. Is that Yannick? Sancia, are persons able to speak when they raise their unmute and speak? What's the procedure there?
Once they hold up their hand, we'll acknowledge them and they can go ahead and ask the question. But the hand went right back down.
Okay.
There isn't any question. Oh yes, it came back up.
All right. Yannick, you can go ahead and ask the question.
Let me know if, are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, so my question is, can the drop shipping distribution strategy be applied to a service business? So you spoke a lot about a tangible product. How, if it can, how would you apply it?
All right, so drop shipping is based on selling products. As I hear, it's a shipping. I don't ship a service, right? But what you can do as a service provider is to form relationships with the service provider who is going to be your vendor, who is going to be the provider. and you can sell the service out there and then make arrangements for the delivery of said service, which is kind of similar relationship, but what would that will be more of a partnership than a drop shipping. You understand? Where you seek partners out there who can provide services that accentuate or elevate what you already are doing or complement what you're already doing. Or let's say, for instance, let's use the example of my business, the party rental. So I'm into renting equipment. I don't do decor. I don't do chairs and tables and tents. So I could easily find other suppliers to do this, incorporate them into what I'm doing, and provide a package to the end customer. When the customer only deals with me directly, right? But the other service providers fulfill their obligations based on my instructions. So a partnership would better fit a service-based business where dropshipping is concerned. Hope that answered your question. All right. Another thing to consider where dropshipping is concerned as well is that we can allow persons to dropship from us. So let's say, for instance, we have a business in the manufacturing space. We make a product, a physical product, and our model, instead of having sales reps and investing in a large staff to sell the products, you can look to form dropshipping relationships as well with other providers. So pretty much what would happen in this case is that they go out there, they market the product, and they market up whatever it is that they want to market up. And then when they get the order, they have you drop ship directly to the customer. Now, one thing to understand where dropshipping is concerned is that dropshipping is now a model that is being used by a lot of providers, especially out of China and the USA, because they have recognized that persons want to sell in this manner. It's an easy way for them to get sale without having to put out the effort as well. So there are many providers out there whose business model is to drop ship. And you want to work with these types of providers because when, let's say, for instance, you use Kim's Beauty, and Kim's Beauty does not have a drop shipping model, then when the customer receives the product, it's going to come with Kim's Beauty's packaging and all that on it. You understand? Because remember, it didn't go through you. You didn't get a chance to repackage the product. So what will happen next time when the person wants Kim's Beauty's products? They're going to go straight to Kim's Beauty because they're going to figure out, so Leighton didn't actually sell me this product. It was out of Kim's Beauty. So maybe I'm paying a higher rate by buying it through Leighton. I'm going to go straight to Kim's Beauty next time. When you work with a company who does drop shipping, oftentimes they will send the package without any branding or with your branding on it. So you can have these types of formal relationships as well with persons. Similar thing with white labeling, where you can have a manufacturer who sells bundles of hair for argument's sake, and this is how a lot of persons are coming up with these hair brands and these lipstick brands, these beauty brands, because they're using white labeling. What they're doing is finding that manufacturer who already makes these products in bulk and saying, hey, I want to create a brand and drop ship from you. So every single time when I get a purchase, you put my branding on this product and you send it out to the customer. All right. So that's a cool way of starting up a new brand without investing any dollars or cents into the actual manufacturing of the product. And as Jamaicans, who are very entrepreneurial, and we have become a lot more entrepreneurial at an earlier stage in life of a lot more young entrepreneurs these days than before. The disadvantage to being a young entrepreneur is that oftentimes we don't have much capital to invest. But this is a way that we can start up in a real way without having a lot of monies. All you need is a laptop, an internet connection, credit card, and some funds to run some ads, right? If you can run those ads and get persons to purchase, you can drop ship from anywhere to anywhere.
All right, a couple of questions in the chat here. And it's following up from the drop shippings. So the question says, if you become the provider for the drop shipper, would you be considered a fulfillment center?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. A fulfillment center is what Amazon does with Jamaican sellers. So a fulfillment center collects your products, stores them, and then fulfills the sale whenever a sale happens. When you are the provider to the dropshipper, what you are is a manufacturer first. You're manufacturing. So you would have already been manufacturing your goods and storing them in your warehouse. Now, when the person buys from you, then you send it to their purchaser, just like if somebody bought directly from you. You understand? So what is happening in this case is that you, the manufacturer, make your products, you store them at your location, but the sale is not coming directly to you. It's coming through your job shipper, or the person we have that job shipping relationship with. And when that person purchases from you, then you send it to their customer, right? The other alternative is that the customer buys directly from you, which is not a job shipping relationship. You're just buying directly from the manufacturer.
Okay, all right. Alexandra, let me know if that answers your question. Yes, she says she understands. Another question for you, Leighton. How efficient is white labeling?
It works. It works. I'll say you've seen many artists, many renowned or popular persons come out with these brands. You know, they now have a hair brand, a perfume, and it's heavy. It's used a lot in the beauty and apparel space, you know. So people are coming out with these different brands, and they're not making anything themselves. But what they do is that they find these manufacturers of these different products out there, and it is in the manufacturer's business model. So when the manufacturer is conceptualizing, all right, how am I going to go to market this? All right, I make here. I can sell it to retail stores. I can sell it to wholesale stores, or I can have white labeling, where for me, I'm not really pushing a brand. I just want to get hair sales out the way. You understand? So these persons are not pushing a brand. What they're doing is making a product and looking for persons who are looking to market these types of products. So they will typically offer a range of options. Let's use the example of perfumes. They may have a wide range of different perfumes or scents. You have seen it especially like in the Kim Kardashian space, that type of space, you know, where people are coming out with these different scents. Rihanna has a scent, that person has a scent. It is because white labeling works. What these people do is that they find their manufacturer, they do their due diligence and go through the process of selecting the product that they want to sell. And they say, all right, here is my branding. I want you to put this on all my brand. And what you can do as well as a white labeler, typically with white labeling, you'd buy it in bulk. So you won't use drop shipping, where, you know, the item is shipped one from your white labeler. No, your white labeler would typically sell you the products in batches. So maybe let's say I'm gonna buy 100 of this or 1,000 of this and stock it and sell it. But what they're doing is that they're putting your branding on their product and providing it to you for you to sell as your branded product. You understand? So if it's here, if it's a scent, if it's clothing items, you understand, they put on the stitch on the label for you, all these types of things. So white labeling is nothing new. It's nothing new and has been around for decades.
Right. And I also want to add here to Leighton that JBDC through our Things Jamaican store does white labeling as well. We call it private labeling, but it's white labeling. It really is, with our Jamaica Harvest products. So we have a whole range of condiments, seasonings, jams, all kind of bottled products, food, mainly agro-processing products.
Right.
And these are sold through our e-commerce platform. But these are all from varying suppliers, persons who are able to supply the products, but they don't have a brand.
Right.
They need a brand, and that is where we come in.
Right. And some people don't care for a brand either. They just want to sell their products. For example, my father has been working in agriculture for decades, probably like 30 years now or so. And he sells potatoes to exporters, and he sells them by the thousands. You understand? He does not care about a brand on those potatoes, but somebody else may take those potatoes, bag them up into a little package, stamp on a label and say, hey, I am Mr. Potato. Understand? And he is just supplying. So they are, and I just want to drive that home because I don't want us to feel as if we must be the persons putting on the white label. We can also be the supplier of the product for persons to white label from us as well.
Right. There's another question in the chat. I think that I should respond to it. So someone is saying, if something goes wrong with a white label product, do you take the blame on yourself or is it shared? And I want to say that there are quality standards. There are quality standards that must be abided by. So it don't mean that you're going to take every single product that come along. There are procedures in terms of like standardization that is necessary for these partnerships, as it were, to be entered into. So it's not just something that because somebody come and say, oh, I have this and I want, no, it doesn't work like that. So hopefully there won't be a case where something goes wrong because we take the necessary steps prior to going to market to ensure that things are standardized.
Right. And there is, yeah, man.
I was just gonna say, go ahead with your presentation. I won't interrupt anymore.
Yeah, man, no problem. And there are also there are normally terms and conditions that govern spoilage and defective products as well, and handling returns and exchange. Typically, in a white labeling relationship, you know, the manufacturer's priority is to keep your customer happy because you're looking at selling products in bulk at a time, hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands at a time. Typically, you don't want to let one bad product get in the way of that. So most, if not all, manufacturers have some types of policies around supporting defect, spoilage, and returns. All right, just to consider. All right. Now, key sales activities that we must consider as part of our digitization process to remain competitive is the first one I want to talk about is ongoing activities. So we're now going to break them up into three categories. You have ongoing, seasonal, and then you have campaigns, right? I like to use the ongoing example of KFC, and this is where we talk about, you know, promoting, you know, your business and its offerings, you know, with brand campaigns right through. You're always promoting the brand. You're always promoting the brand. You never stop running ads. I always like to talk about KFC with this. You know, the baby were born yesterday. Know that if they want some food fast, they need to consider KFC. And I think that is one of the reasons why KFC has done so well at what they do. And no chicken franchise, no matter who they are, can come and share it. Of course, you know, there's a taste, there's reputation, there's many other things. But for me, the fact that KFC never stops advertising is one of the reasons why they are as successful as they are as well, right? So you want to have your brand promotions going right. You know, typically promotions get stale after, you know, a certain time. So you want to change them out maybe every month to 3 months. But you want to always be in people's face, remind them about your brand, you know, remind them to choose you, remind them that you are here, right? Because keep in mind that when persons find you online, a lot of times they don't buy it today, you understand? But they've heard the name, they say, all right, this person provides this particular product, and when I need that product, I'm going to go back to them. But you want to also ensure that they remember to come back to you when it's that time. And by consistently engaging them with campaigns online, you know, you can do that. And there are different metrics and different tools that you can use to engage and re-engage the same type of persons who have seen your ads before, right? Then you have seasonal campaigns, which is what I was mentioning earlier, that, you know, you have different commercial seasons throughout the year that you want to tap into different busy periods. It is okay, guys, for you to make majority of your money in a very short time frame or a very brief period through the year. I guarantee you that Tasty sells majority of the cheese that it sells for the year during Easter. I guarantee you that anybody who sells Christmas fruit cake sells majority of that during Christmas. It's okay to capitalize on seasonal seasons and maximize on them. And for some of us, that's a relief. Imagine you make all of your money where you're supposed to make in the year within 3-4 months. You know, that makes for a very easy rest of year, right? And those are things that we want to look for. So we want to definitely identify what those seasons are and have digital campaigns ready to run, right? We spoke earlier about Google search, and I forgot to mention a little trick that I like to use. A little bit of guerrilla marketing, where, you know, because persons are searching online for products and services, a lot of times persons will search directly for your competitor. So if I'm in the furniture business or, you know, home goods business, and so forth, you know, I'm gonna be putting in things like Quartz, Active Traders, Kemlani Mart, Ashley Furniture, you know, so that when persons are searching for them, they find me. And we see this strategy a lot being used when we buy digital tools. So let's say, for example, you go online and you search MailChimp. Anybody can go online right now and search MailChimp. I guarantee you there's going to be an ad at the top of that page advertising some other product. It's because they are including their competitor in the search term. It's a way to get the attention of customers who shop with your competitor. Because at the end of the day, you guys sell the same thing. What you want is for them to see that, oh, probably I have the same thing at a better price. You understand? So people even go as far as to say, as to type, you know, best alternative to Quartz in their ad. So when persons search for Quartz and they say best alternative Quartz, what? I want to take a look at that because it must mean that them have a better price or something. You understand? So that's something that you definitely want to consider when doing your search campaigns. You know, it's again, guys, about being creative in using these tools, and that's why I say everything comes back to strategy, right? So going back to your season and promotion, I say you want to create a calendar for the year, and you want to know when people are looking for what, when people are most likely to buy. You want to concentrate majority of your promotional budget during the period when people are most likely to buy. Outside of that, you want to just keep your brand campaigns running. Keep your brand campaigns running, and for to ensure that you are always top of mind and persons remember you. All right. Then you talk about sales campaigns where, you know, you're doing deals and specials to increase consideration or to clear stock. So of course, outside of your busy period, you want to have some sales campaigns that drive sales, boost sales. So all right, you know, we're going into the slow season. It doesn't mean it have to be extremely slow for you, you know, or maybe it is that you have a slow season rate, you know, all right, you're in high season, I can get $1,000 for this thing. But during the slow, I might have to sell it for 800 or 700. So we know that, all right, during slow season, we're gonna run a campaign of having 30% off. You understand? That's the approach. So, you know, it's again, guys, no different from when you're selling offline. Online is the same. It's just a matter of applying the same concepts, running the ads, staying the course, right? So these are 3 types of campaigns that I try to encourage persons to activate. Of course, it takes some budget to keep it going, but I will say that for your ongoing campaigns, you can spend as little as $1 per day. As little as $1 per day. It is better to be consistent. So if you have to be cheap to be consistent, it's better to be consistent than to do it up and down, haphazard. You understand? Where you're on today or off tomorrow. Always be in people's face, especially for us as young business, small businesses. You know, we have to be consistent in the face of our customers. Again, a lot of times persons go online, they don't make the purchase the first time. They have to see you over and over again. And, you know, there are brands that, you know, I've been following for years, and, you know, I don't make a purchase until maybe the 2nd year, the 3rd year, 4th year, even after. You understand? It is because you're always reminding me about what it is that they sell and why I should choose them. Sometimes I end up looking at other competitors and go right back to them because, again, that's where I trust. Also, keep in mind, guys, that your sales activity should help you to build trust. Building trust is the #1 activator for online sales. You will get traffic, you will get comments, you will get likes, but you will never get a sale if there is no trust. So you have to consider what activities you need to execute to build trust with your target market, right? Having things like responding to messages quickly help to build trust. I've done business with many individuals where we have never exchanged words over the phone or face to face before, just by simply responding to messages promptly or emails promptly lets them know that, hey, I'm easy to reach, I'm not going anywhere. And if I have a problem, if they have a problem, I'm here to support them, right? These things help. And that's why people started adding live chats to their websites, because the customer being, put at ease to know that they have support when they need, or if something should go wrong. It helps them to make that purchase. A lot of times for us, especially when we get into a certain type of customer, like we lock our eyes and buy. Like, for example, right now I'm sure that Amazon, Expedia, these types of companies, like, we just click through fast. Sometimes they don't even scrutinize information that much when going through the buying process, because we've done it so many times before. We have trust with the customer. We also not, if a mistake is made, we can simply reach out and reverse it immediately. Trust goes a very, 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 very far away with online purchasing, especially in a country like Jamaica, where there's great skepticism about doing business online. There are different ways to connect with your customers to build trust. Yes, there is, quick support, but even, for instance, affiliations. So, for example, knowing that you are, say, a part of say you're a JBDC client, or you are a part of the PSOJ, or you're a part of Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, or you are approved by this or that entity. These are things that must come out strongly on your pages, whether it is on your Instagram page or your website. Having testimonials is very important as well. Google reviews is another very, 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 very powerful facility to leverage, and I've been using it, especially more recently, and it has proven to do a lot of good for me. Why? Because the more Google reviews you have, is the higher you come up in search when persons are searching for services that you offer, products that you offer. So what I try to do is that after every positive engagement with a client, I tell them directly that, hey, I'm gonna ask you to leave a review. I'll send you the link later, right? And I send that link, and most times, because you had that conversation with them, they leave it. But when other persons are able to come and see that, hey, other persons are having very positive experiences with you, then the trust factor becomes activated. And no longer is the question about, if you are legitimate and how you do business and so forth, will I get the quality? Another beautiful thing I need to highlight as well is that Google reviews also allows you to add pictures to your review. So a lot of times when persons are buying the products, are looking for products to buy, they don't buy it because they're just not sure if it will look that way in real life. And that's the thing, guys, is a great judgment call that needs to be made when persons are buying online. The more you ease the anxiety around making a judgment call, the better for you. I remember once upon a time I wanted to buy a watch for somebody's birthday. It was supposed to be a rose gold watch. When I was looking at the screen, we have different screens, have different quality, resolution, or maybe different phones have different quality, resolution when they take the images. But for some reason, that rose gold watch just never looked rose gold to me, and that doubt prevented me from buying the product online. Now, if I saw a lot of reviews showing me the watch in real life, and then I could say, oh no, man, I just my screen or just the phone, something was off, but the product is real and the product is exactly what I want. These things make a big, 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 big difference in closing the sale, right? Now the cost structure. Okay, so we have 2 more slides to go and then we're done. So cost structure is the second to last thing to consider. Now, when you're looking at competition, again, guys, people are competitive in different ways, and how you manage your costs can boost competitiveness. So you're able to provide a better price, or you're able to provide a better service because of how you are structured from a cost perspective. So when you think about an online business, some of the things to consider are things like systems. If you have a physical space that you have to use, and you talk about rent, then you have to consider your payment services, cost for payment services, because there is a cost. Sometimes people don't like that cost, but you can't get around from it. It's just like when you go to the gas station and you use the card machine. The gas station bears a cost for using a card machine, but the more payment options you have, is the more likely you are to win the sale, right? Because they give people multiple ways to pay. So what people can do is sometimes build that cost back into the price of the goods and so forth. Then you have things like maintenance, whether it is office or infrastructure. You want to definitely consider if you need to look at servers, websites. There are different costs that come with those things. And of course, you look at inventory. Do you need to invest in stock? Also, do you look at people? Do you need what type of people resources do you need? Are you self-serve, or are you personal service? If you're personal service, then you're going to need more team members to support the sales process. Similarly as well for operations, right? You have to consider these things. Then you look at promotion. Promotion typically for online looks at the creative, so creating your marketing materials and then running ads around it. Creating your marketing collateral these days. There are different costs that come with it, but there are also a lot of free tools that you can use to create your content. So, for example, you can use Canva, very nice tool to use, and you can also use CapCut for video. So Canva for photo. Canva does video as well, but CapCut is the specialized resource in video for me. Canva for photography and any other design like that. I see Yannick has her hand up. I don't know if you want to take that one, Sansia. Yes, no?
Morning. Let me know if you're hearing me again.
Yeah, hearing you.
Okay, great. So I saw this thing recently about Canva having specific regulations, and to be very wary, especially as it relates to using it to design things like your logo, wherein I don't know if this applies in Jamaica, but if you use certain designs, then you are not able to get it copywritten. And so somebody else can basically say, if you used a bird or a tree or a leaf, can use that exact same bird or tree or leaf. And so you have no real legal control over it. Is that something that you are aware of, or have any guidance as to how to kind of limit that?
All right, so it makes sense. It makes sense to me that they have that type of policy in place, because Canva is a templated solution, which means that they would provide a lot of the resources from their end at their cost. And what they are going to do is to prevent you from preventing them from using the same resource that they gave you. From preventing other persons from using the same resource that they gave you. So it kind of makes sense. You understand? But keep in mind, guys, that these are free tools. So, you have limitations with things that are free. If you want to get something that you have free reign in executing with no constraint whatsoever, then of course you can employ a graphic designer to create something from scratch for you. But when it comes to leveraging these platforms with templates and so forth, yes, you are free to use it wherever you want to, but copywriting becomes a whole different conversation. All right. Andrew, I see you have your hand up as well. Sansia?
Andrew, we're trying to unmute you, so please, you can go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, right, you can hear me. But I was saying a little bit with Canva and some of those other tools, AI tools. If you, in alignment with what you said, Layden, if you have a paid version, there are some things that you can copyright once you use it and do it yourself. But if you have a free version, you will not be able to copyright anything that you really create. It now becomes kind of like a free tool for everybody else to access and to use, especially if you post it on their Canva website platform.
Right. Thanks for that addition. And that makes a lot of sense. Again, if you're using a free version, guys, you have to expect limitations with what you can do. But for those free versions, what we want to do is get off the ground. You understand? If you want to go as far as copyright, so you can look at the paid version or you can look at paying a resource to create something for you. But that's a good addition. Thanks for that. All right. So our last section talks about fulfillment. So as I mentioned earlier, there are different types of delivery and fulfillment options. You can have physical products where persons can pick up. Guys, if you don't want to use or deal with the delivery of products to your customers, you can have persons pick up. A lot of times people think about e-commerce and only think about delivery, where you can have persons order online and come in to pick up. Especially if it is that you allow persons to pay upon pickup, and you may not have a logistics partner that you trust to collect your monies. I know that there are a few, I don't remember them by name now, that can collect monies for you and get it back to you. But an easy way for persons to pay upon pickup, submit an order and pay upon pickup, you can do that very easily. All right. Then of course you have the delivery options where you typically incur a cost to have the product delivered to the customer. Now, that cost is normally passed on to the client, and that cost may vary. So, for example, somebody's operating in Kingston can have a round-town delivery cost for, say, $600 for argument's sake, if that's still the rate that bearers use to deliver stuff around town. But if you want to get it to Clarendon, that may come at a different cost. Could be cheaper, could be more. So, for example, you could use like a Knutsford to send it to Clarendon, and the person picks up from that particular location for only $400. But you could also look at using a Tara that goes to the person's door, what may charge, say, $1,200 for argument's sake. So there are these different delivery service providers that you can use, but you have to understand the costing behind the provision of their service so that you can pass that costing on to your customer. Don't tell a customer flat fee $500 for delivery when you know you have customers for all the way in the grill. It's not feasible for that to happen unless you're using something like a Knutsford where a person is going there to pick up, right? So that's something to consider. In the case of Kim's Beauty, of course, she's using product shipping for her products, and then she's providing the physical service to persons who take the service. Then again, for downloads, guys, one of the things for downloads that we have to be aware of is duplication of our resources. I can't tell you how many people have come to me lately are selling this book in this place online, and I find the book being sold on Amazon, and I didn't put it on Amazon because somebody downloaded the product and put it elsewhere. So there are different ways that you can protect your assets. It doesn't have to be a download all the time. Sometimes it can be giving them a secure space to access where they have to log in and interact with the material. You understand? If you don't want that type of replication. I had a client out of the US who sold Excel templates for tax filing, and she was doing extremely well. You're talking about, I think she did over 500,000 US in 2 years after selling those templates only. Her issue now was that she wanted to scale, but her challenge was that people are sharing their templates. So I may buy the template, I may share it with my wife, I may share it with my brother, my father, my mother, my child. Understand? What she wants is for each person to have their own template. So what she wanted to do was to move away from downloading to accessing in a secure environment that still provided the same type of user experience as downloading an Excel template and using it, So these are some things that you have to also consider when you think about, how you deliver the service. And of course, you have, your virtual service delivery, virtual delivery. Virtual delivery could look like what we're doing right now on this Zoom session, or it could also be persons accessing a portal to get whatever it is that you paid for them, right? So there are different ways to fulfill your orders, and those are some of the key ones, right? Now I want to end by with this slide. Now, one thing that I'll be doing for October is that we'll be starting some e-commerce boot camps for Christmas. A lot of persons are trying to figure out how they can get online in time to make the Christmas sale. And we're going to be providing a boot camp type of approach where we do some hand holding and we show people exactly how to get structured, how to get set up. We'll be even going as far as providing online selling platforms for persons to use and learn. And you can also use those platforms to sell thereafter, at whether it be free or reduced cost. But we're going to encourage persons, if there's anybody on the call right now who wants to be a part of that initiative, can us WhatsApp money up. You see the hashtag money up. So the number 808-5959. We're going to be running these boot camp in preparation for the Christmas sale. So we encourage persons to be a part of that, and I can share some more information with you on that. But that pretty much ends today's session. What we'll be looking to do for these boot camps is to build on this type of exchange that we're having, where we strengthen you, put in a position, not just tell you, but show you and give you some hand-holding support to make those Christmas sales. I see Vivian has her hand up. Sansa, do you want to?
All right. Yes, I'm here. Vivian, I'm gonna take your question in a minute. But there are persons, well, one person has so far indicated that they're interested in the boot camp, Leighton, but it would be great if you could share the dates for the boot camp as well.
Yeah, man.
What date you're looking at.
So I'm asking persons just send a WhatsApp to this number and I'll share the dates, everything related to it, to them directly.
Okay, and it will also cover the areas. Tell
Yeah,
them what
man.
area they're gonna cover.
All
right.
topics, everything,
So
right?
everybody send a WhatsApp 876-808-5959 and you will get the information. All right, 876-808-5959. Vivi, we're gonna go ahead and unmute you and you go ahead with your question. You can go ahead now. All right, go ahead, Vivian.
Thank you so much.
All right, great.
On the issue of online payment services, I met with one of the payment provider yesterday. There is a fee levied on every customer who comes through my business.
Right.
They collect almost 5% of your final sale. They collect your money and decide when they send it to you. They charge a monthly fee that can be paid annually, but every month you have to pay this fee. Now, when I finish calculating, calculating the fees, for every $100 that I make, I only collect $40 out of it. 60% goes to the payment company. Now, that smells like slavery all over to me. I'm not working for myself, I'm working for the payment company. Is there a way around these hefty fees?
All right, so that maths immediately sounds a little bit off. So what the standard is, I'm going to tell you what the standard is, right? I'm going to tell you about the different types of payment providers out there. So the standard is that if you're working with a payment gateway like the NCB or Scotiabank, who uses First Atlantic Commerce, you're gonna pay something like $15,000-$20,000 to get set up. Then you're gonna pay a monthly fee of something like $30 US, or like $4,500 per month. And then you're gonna charge a transaction fee of somewhere about 4.5%, right? These are the payment gateway providers who work with the banks. So typically in this case, you should keep at least 95%, just to round up, 95% of your monies, less the monthly fee that they charge, which is $4,500. Now, if you're only making, say, $10,000 per month, then that 4,500 is going to eat into into that monthly fee. But if you're making $1 million per month, then that's very nominal. You understand? And then now you have payment facilitators who work with persons who either don't want to deal directly with the banks or have challenges with dealing with the banks directly, or may not need a payment service consistently, but more so intermittently, and don't want to deal with all the heaviness that comes with the bank. So they work with payment facilitators, right? There are probably 2 or 3 locally that I'm aware of. My company, Get Paid, has done it in the past, and we still have a few customers who we do it for. With a payment facilitator service, you still bear the cost of each transaction, and then what they do is that they typically collect your funds for you and send it to you, and they take a percentage of what is being collected. Now, payment facilitation works mainly for persons who are more informal, and they just don't have a choice but to work with a payment facilitator because they cannot get an account from the bank. That's typically how that exchange works. Now, it being 60 or 40% of your money come down to how much money you make per month. You understand? Again, if you're just making $10,000 per month and already taking out 4,500, then that's tough to deal with. You understand? That may not be a friendly payment facilitation service for you. So, like for us that Get Paid, we don't charge a monthly fee. We used to charge a monthly fee, like $20 or something, but we don't charge it anymore because there are persons who don't need the service every single month, like an event. You understand? An event is only keeping maybe say once or twice per year, and they want to always have access to the service. So whenever they're having their events, they can do their thing. You understand? So it really comes down to the type of relationship that you're looking for and the entity that you're working with. But typically, if you have your company registered, if you have a business account and a business banking relationship with a bank, you can go directly to them, get access to the service. You pay some upfront costs, not too much like before, because before COVID, you were looking at $1,000 USD just to open an account with NCB. Now I think it's gone on to like about $20,000. Scotia, Sagicor, I think like about $15,000. And then the transaction fees, again, about 3.94% to 4.5% typically, and so forth. So it really comes down to the type of relationship that you're looking for and how much money you're making. I've done facilitation services for persons who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars per month, and for them it works and works beautifully. Because those transaction costs are minimal compared to how much you're making. But if you're not making a lot of money, then maybe credit card may not be for you. Maybe it's that you just do a bank transfer, or maybe if it is that if you can afford to work with a PayPal, PayPal has pros and cons, but if you can afford to work with a PayPal option, then maybe that may be the best thing for you, where you don't incur any cost at all. Your main challenge will be just how regularly you're able to access your funds from PayPal because of the time it takes to send the funds to you, time it takes for it to clear locally and so forth. But there are different payment options that you can explore that may suit you, that different from what you're currently engaged in. I hope that answered the question, Vivian. Sansi, I saw some more hands up. I don't know if you saw them or called them.
Tamisha had her hand up, but it seems as if she put it back down. Tamisha, if you still want to ask a question, you can just go ahead and indicate, and we will facilitate that. In the meantime, though,
I see Tamisha put her hand back up.
Oh, she's back. All right, go ahead, Tamisha.
Okay, thank you so very much for this very informative and fulfilling session. I wanted to find out in terms of business support from JBDC and registration. Do you do that currently in terms of helping persons to set up registration and so on for their business?
You can feel free to come into any of our offices. Where are you located? Just parish, Tamisha.
I'm in Kingston.
Okay, wonderful. You can visit us at 14 Camp Road, Kingston 4, and we'll be able to facilitate that for you.
Okay. I'm currently operating a small business from home where I do personalized items and so on. But I was told that I can operate for up to a year before registering the business.
So I'm not able to give you all of those particulars, but as I said, in fact, you can give us a call and ask for a young lady by the name of Nicola Mackenzie. So the number I posted, yes, I posted it in the chat, 876-928-516125, and ask for Nicola Mackenzie, and she will be able to give you that information.
All right, thank you so much.
You are making products. That's what you said. What exactly are you making?
No, I do prints and I do crafts. So I do t-shirts, mugs, tumblers, that kind of a thing, engraving.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, just give her a call and then she'll be able to guide you from there.
Let me just jump in on this topic as well of registration as well. Santia. So
Sure.
I always encourage persons to do the right thing and get registered. But I also encourage persons to test your business before we registered. I have been guilty of coming up with an idea. Saying that, all right, I want to execute this idea. Do some research, say, man, this can work. Register a company, but idea doesn't get off the ground. It's a waste of time, waste of money, and then you're gonna have to close on the company and so forth. So I always recommend the person that try to at least get some sales going, and then you formalize and so forth. But do it with the intention to formalize. So we encourage persons to do this. The next thing as well, I'm gonna say to everybody in this room is that for you to activate e-commerce properly, you need two important relationships. You need to have a registered business, with having your business registration certificates and your necessary numbers, so your TRN numbers, your tax numbers, all those different numbers. And you need to have a banking relationship. There are many persons out there who just go ahead and register the business, and that is it. You need to have banking relationships. So I encourage persons to create a bank account in the first 3 months of getting your business registered. Why within the first 3 months? Because your TCC expires after 3 months, and you cannot open a bank without a valid. Sorry, you cannot open a bank account without a valid TCC. Your bank account is what will your business bank account is what will give you access to merchant services, and e-commerce payments fall under merchant services. So when you create your business, immediately, don't even wait 1 week. Again, guys, I've been guilty of this. Create the business, never create the business bank account, and it's just a whole headache to get the TCC in place before creating the account. Just make it easy for yourself. Create the business bank account immediately, right away. And you can create multiple accounts as well. I encourage persons to have at least 2 accounts, one JMD, one USD. You want to be able to collect your payments and have those funds separate from your operating funds as well, that you use to pay your bills and stuff. So it's good to have more than one account. And when you work with like a NCB, you can get one payment gateway that settles, allow you to charge in both currencies and settle in the accounts respectively when you have those 2 accounts. So I encourage persons to register the business, get the bank accounts, and get at least 2 currencies, JMD and USD.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Leighton, for sharing that information and for sharing with us generally this morning. It certainly was useful information. There are 2 things that jumped out for me. One was the e-commerce business canvas. I thought that was just a fantastic piece of strategy document. I hope persons were taking notes because he went through each step of the e-commerce business canvas, and also the highlighted key sales activities, the ongoing, the seasonal, and the sales campaign. Remember, this is not just about setting up the business, but the main purpose of business is to make money. and you must have a strategy, because remember, there are lots of companies out there that are, some of them are doing the same thing. Some of them are doing it in such a strategic way that if you are not properly positioned, you are not going to be able to access any of the funds that's floating around in the economy. So with that said, we have just a few minutes to wrap up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Leighton, for joining us again one more time. I can always call on Leighton to come and share his wealth of knowledge, all the information that he has garnered as an expert in the field of e-commerce over the years. And I'm so appreciative. JBDC is also appreciative of your support as well. Also, thank you to everyone that came and not just participated. They didn't just join. There was a whole seminar going on in the chat, Leighton. I'm gonna save it. Yeah, man, I'm gonna save it and share it. There's a whole session by itself that was carrying on in the chat. So thank you everyone for joining us today. The session will be available on our YouTube channel at some point, maybe next week, hopefully. But we have another session that's coming up on the 15th. You will hear more about it. Just watch the same space that you got the information from about this webinar, and we will see you then. Thank you again for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, man. Remember to send me the WhatsApp. Send WhatsApp money up. Learn more about the boot camp that's happening.
And send that to me as well, Leighton. Send it to me as well.
I will.
All right.
We're gonna have a special for JBDC clients, so I'll share that information with you.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, man, definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day.
You too.